Hey everyone, no need to run away due to my Indian accent. I'm not here to scam, I'm here to explain. So let's start today's video without touching any kids. In Cyberpunk 2077, you can perform aerial takedowns on enemies who haven't noticed you. If you're outside of combat, simply jump onto an enemy from an elevated position and the takedown animation will automatically trigger as you're about to land. Previously, this was an unlockable ability called Hidden Dragon in the Cool Tree, but after the 2.0 perk rework, every character gets this ability by default. Since the game never actually tells you about it, you might completely overlook this useful combat tool. But remember, if you are a fat kid or you have alerted the enemies, you can't pull this off. But if they're searching for you or completely unaware of your presence, feel free to touch them. Another useful combat tip, if you find yourself in the middle of a fight and completely out of ammo or even just running low, simply walking over a body will often give you around 100 free bullets to keep fighting. But this does seem to level off. I got around 400 rounds for this SMG, and after that, the enemies stopped dropping more ammo. When playing through Cyberpunk, you'll come across plenty of quests with two possible objectives, often with an optional one. If you open your journal, you can switch which quest objective is currently active and being tracked, or click the T key, making it much easier to find that alternative path where your parents loved you. Right from the very start of Cyberpunk 2077, there's an important choice that a lot of players completely miss. If you start the game as a nomad, during Act 1's The Pickup, when you walk up to Jackie and see his bike for the first time, you'll get a new dialogue option to comment on his ride. After choosing it, a new skill check will appear. It requires 6 technical ability, and you can recommend that Jackie make some upgrades to his bike.
I'd swap out that tailpipe if I were you.
Really? Why? It's got a mean growl that the chicas just love.
What that growl does is tell people a mile out that Jackie's rumbling their way. I'd tinker with the fuel injection, too. Upload a new map and slap on some thermal tape till you cobble together enough eddies to get that exhaust modded.
But the really cool part is that Jackie isn't like my chick, he actually listens to you. Later, after the heist, you get Jackie's arch for yourself. And if you chose this option, you'll get Jackie's tuned arch instead of the regular version. This includes additional tailpipes, just like we recommended, giving the tuned arch 4 exhaust pipes. It also has additional fuel injection with 2 injection points plus a new sticker. Even getting on the bike gives you a slightly different sound. The real benefit is that Jackie's tuned arch accelerates faster. I wouldn't call it a game-changing difference, but it's definitely noticeable. On average, you'll be a few miles per hour faster than the regular arch. And honestly, that makes the tuned arch one of the best free early game vehicles you can get. And if you choose the Fantom Liberty Quick Start, you'll always get the tuned arch regardless of your life path. But what you might not know is that the Quick Start actually changes a few other things in the game too. You'll get Jackie's tuned arch, but you'll also basically forget Jackie. After finishing the heist, you would normally be able to visit the afterlife and order a drink in honor of Jackie Wells.
Remember his drink? The recipe?
Vodka on the rocks, lime juice, and ginger beer.
And a splash of love.
But if you skip ahead to Fantom Liberty, you'll get the order completely wrong.
Maybe mix up a shot of tequila? Some grapefruit Nicola?
Nice. No, I know what he'd want. Vodka on the rocks, lime juice, ginger beer, and most important, a splash of love.
That's him, all right.
During the skip ahead loading screen, Johnny doesn't even use Jackie's actual name. He simply describes him as a lowly Haywood pawn.
Both the Emperor and a lowly Haywood pawn met their maker that day.
And perhaps worst of all, if you use the skip ahead option, both Mama Wells and Jackie Wells are no longer contacts in your phone. There's also a completely secret call you can make to Jackie after the prologue. Just call his number from your phone. I won't spoil what happens next, but it's a really cool little moment. But with the quick start option, basically all of that relationship with Jackie gets stripped out of the game. And honestly, I kind of get it. You don't actually experience any of those moments with Jackie during the prologue in Act 1, so it makes sense that you don't get to talk about him afterward. But speaking of Act 1, normally, after the heist, you return to the No-Tell Motel to meet Fatsucker Dex and fill him in on what happened. You have a brief conversation before Dex sends you off to the bathroom. Dex is trying to clean up loose ends and basically wants to get the drop on you when you come out of the bathroom. The scene was even shown in some of the pre-release trailers, so it's incredibly well known, but you can also just not do that. Keep standing there and Dex will start organizing his transport out of Night City. You can even ask him about it as the call ends.
Who are you calling? Evelyn Parker?
Docs. Old tune from my time in transport and logistics. It's all you need to know. Now get that blood off your face.
But if you keep standing there for a little longer, this fat speed eventually gets impatient and accepts that you're not going to the bathroom. The rest of the scene plays out pretty much the same way, but this is still a seriously cool hidden interaction that most players completely miss. Now, when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077 overall, there are more secret outcomes than Bonnie Blue's partner. I wish I was one of them. Anyway, one interesting dialogue you can encounter is when you're tasked with taking out Joanne Koch, a Biotechnica engineer who lets an experimental virus run rampant on some nomads, killing 70 members of their clan. She's locked inside a high-end apartment, surrounded by heavily armed Biotechnica guards. Getting past the first floor doesn't really matter here, but once you reach Joanne's 19th floor, stealthily take out every guard you can find. There are several on this level, along with a bunch more on the roof. Once you've popped everyone's head, simply go and talk to Joanne. You'll have to wake her up from a brain dance, but she'll immediately realize what's going on.
But at least let me back up the test results for future application. These nomads, they're gone regardless. Let their death serve a purpose.
Fine, do it. But don't pull any stunts.
And if you let Joanne go through with that backup, right after it finishes, she'll make a run for her guards.
Security! Security!
You sure about that? 'Cause I think something horrible happened to him. And it'll happen to you.
And if you choose to simply kill her, she'll still try to make a run for it, leading to an even colder line of dialogue.
Security! Security!
Scream your throat bloody. Not a soul's gonna hear you.
Let me know in the comments down below what other cold dialogue you have heard used by V. And also tell me, am I capable for Bonnie Blue? And sometimes, decisions you make during one quest can actually show up as new dialogue options in a later quest. One job you'll probably remember is Automatic Love, where you're searching for Evelyn Parker. During this quest, most of us spend some time with Angel, and then you have to fight or sneak past a bunch of tiger claws before eventually dealing with the greasy, sleazy caretaker of the dolls, Woodman. You'll almost always have some kind of dialogue here. If you shoot your way into his office, you'll trigger a brief conversation before the proper fight with Woodman begins.
What do you want?
Chill, keep calm. I'm looking for a girl.
But if you sneak through the entire quest and stay completely stealthy, you can eventually have a one-on-one conversation with Woodman in his office. This option only appears if you didn't alert any of the guards outside. He starts offering you alternative dolls to Evelyn and yapping things that will seriously raise your blood pressure. The conversation can be pretty delicate. Some dialogue choices will immediately trigger combat. There are also a couple of skill checks that make getting through it easier, but otherwise, picking the wrong option can end the conversation and ruin your progress. Or you can just bring up Jotaro Shobo. If you're not familiar, he's one of the most sadistic bitch of the Night City. He's an extreme braindance director who facilitates some truly horrible acts just to capture them on braindances. Basically, someone has to go through some extreme experience, and then he sells those braindances to wealthy clients. Almost like an adrenaline junkie experience where they can feel the same emotions as the person who went through it. Classic reference to real life. The problem is that Jotaro keeps raising the ante, always looking for something more extreme, which leads to some seriously disturbing things happening around Night City. You can find shards all around Night City mentioning Jotaro and what he's been up to. But this actually ties back into Automatic Love and the Tiger Claws. Both Woodman and Jotaro operate within the Tiger Claws, which is the faction protecting them around Night City. During one of the early gigs, Monster Hunt, you're tasked with taking Jotaro out yourself. It's pretty straightforward, just take him down. The only people guarding him are a bunch of Tiger Claws. And if you take out one of the most horrific bitch, Jotaro, before doing Automatic Love, and then sneak all the way to Woodman's office without alerting a single guard, something pretty interesting happens. As you're talking to Woodman, after you get a little way into the conversation, you'll get the option to bring up Jotaro.
You heard about Jotaro Shobo?
Shobo had an accident.
What Shobo had was a very unfortunate meeting with me. Just happened to be his last. Wouldn't want this to be your last meeting, would ya?
Course not. Never wanted to be anything like Shobo.
That completely changes the conversation. Woodman drops his cocky attitude and immediately starts cooperating with you. Otherwise, things end pretty much the usual way here. And really, what makes this interaction so cool, even compared to some of the other ones in this video, is that you're actually making a name for yourself in Night City and getting the benefits of that reputation. Both of these guys work with the Tiger Claws, but after you take out a high-value target within their faction, their other associates start treating you with more respect, which I usually don't get in real life. And if you're about to take on some of these quests using stealth, don't forget about tagging. While scanning an enemy, simply hit the middle mouse button on PC or the right joystick on consoles, and you'll tag them. They'll then remain visible to you. This can even be combined with something like ping for some serious intel, letting you tag multiple enemies through walls and making stealth a lot easier. You can basically be a super creep. But the category of secret quest options I bet most players have missed is some of the really interesting dialogue that appears if you complete Phantom Liberty first. Most people don't do this. Usually, you progress through a good chunk of Cyberpunk 2077 and then play Phantom Liberty somewhere around the mid to late game. But if you complete it relatively early, you can unlock some really interesting new dialogue in certain quests. During Ghost Town, you're trying to track down a guy named Hellman, and you use Rogue's services to find out that he's probably being transported in a Kangtao vehicle. Normally, this leads to you meeting Panam and working together. But if you've already beaten Phantom Liberty, you can mention that you've already taken down an entire MaxTac convoy.
I might need a dusty local's help. Might not. No stranger to risky ops like these, though. MaxTac convoy ambush in Dogtown. Word make it back here about that.
That was you?
Partner and I took out an entire Psycho squad. And these weren't the MT Bush Leaguers they deploy in NC proper.
Partner, you say? Well, weren't working alone then. Won't this time either. Besides, hijacking an AV mid-flight really is a whole nother league of challenge. Believe you me.
And even a bit later in that questline, when you have Hellman and you're asking what's happening to you with Johnny, you'll get a completely new dialogue option to mention the Blackwall as a possible cause.
Ain't just about Silverhand anymore. Rogue algos from beyond the Blackwall flip new switches within the relic.
What? How could that be?
Is it possible someone who connected to the Blackwall and the relic could have left a back door for something malicious to sneak onto the chip?
This I do not know. The Blackwall, it is terra incognita to me. I know just that whatever lies behind it must remain there. At all costs. At this moment, Silverhand remains your greatest problem. Two psyches molding into one. Or is it one psyche cleaving in two?
And one of these even works both ways. If you completed Phantom Liberty first and then do the violence quest with Lizzy Wizzy after she reveals her identity, you can mention that you've already seen her at the Black Sapphire.
None other.
Saw you at the Black Sapphire. Hella gig you put on.
Listen, I don't generally brag about visiting that place, so our little secret, okay?
Or if you did violence first and then went through Phantom Liberty after the scene with Aurora, as you're leaving the Black Sapphire, you can stop and talk to Lizzy at the bar.
Hey there, Lizzy.
V, what are you doing here?
Could legitimately ask you the same.
Yeah, I might be a little out of place, but I get around. And Dogtown, well, it always gets my blood coursing.
And if you mention loving her unique style, sadly, you don't get to crack her, but you'll get her custom headgear as an apparel item. It's one of the rarest items in Night City. So that's it for the video. While editing this video, I completely forgot that I need to get back to doing labor so I can afford GTA 6, because apparently YouTube doesn't give me money.